go. Good morning, ladies and germs. It is time for another episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in beautiful sunny Matawan, New Jersey. We're chopping it up from the Cabinet Creation Sports Desk. It's beautiful. It hasn't fallen over yet, so that's a good thing. It is Sturch. It is Gooch. It is Wrestling Rob behind the glass. It is a loaded Friday because boy, oh boy, sports always delivers. I feel like every time that you think like, oh man, we're going to go into a show and there's not a lot to talk about, something always happens. So we got a lot of that today. And first and foremost, if you want to support Chop Sports, please do so by heading on over to patreon.com/Chop Sports. That's the way to do it in a monetary way. The $10 variation, the $10 subscription, the $10 amount will get you some free access to some really cool shit that we got in development right now with Kyle Kerms and the Sauce Network. Also, yesterday's video, a lot of you guys liked it early. I really appreciate that. We really appreciate that. Please like the video as you're watching us live on YouTube. Good morning to you, Gooch. How you feeling? How's a Friday? You feeling good? It's ready for the weekend, all that good shit.
Go. I feel like we have a nice show. A little bit of I'll be talking a little bit about my Dynasty team later on.
Yeah, so breaking the Cardinal rule.
I have some real issues with who I'm going to keep, so I'm going to go to the people. I'm going to go to the people and get some advice. I'm going to do what I want ultimately, but I would like to hear what the people have to say.
I saw that you posted that earlier today on Facebook and Twitter and pretty much everywhere, that you went out there and you put it all on the line. So I was like, okay, this is the topic to talk about. So we'll do it later.
The one thing that I worry about, and I've said this before, is that a lot of people that I'm in this league with probably watch the show and are definitely in the Chop Sports Facebook group. So as I go for fantasy advice and I'm trying to ask people what they think of these running backs, there might be somebody in there that's giving me, misleading me a little bit, or seeing where I'm trying to go with things, and it kind of puts me in a hard spot.
Okay,
in my fantasy leagues.
There's a lot to get to, including
nonetheless
the Gooch rundown. I mean, before you get into that, I don't know. See, sometimes I know what you're going to cover, and I don't know what you're going to cover. I will say this, Rob, how you doing? Huh? How are Red Sox doing? Huh? How you doing over there?
I know you especially were shitting your pants.
No,
after Devers hit that second home run.
As soon as Donaldson went yard early, I was like, I don't care what they do for the next couple innings. We're shutting this shit down. The Yankees are going to beat the Red Sox today. Shout out to Scoop, by the way, who is en route right now to Boston in a pinstripe jersey. Good luck. Don't get arrested. If you need backup, I'm not driving to get you, so forget it. But yes, go Yankees on
Muslims
that one.
out there in Boston. But, no, just making a terrible
Shout
joke.
out to Scoop. And hit me with the rundown, Gooch.
All right, so going to get this right out of the way. In the NHL, they had the draft last night, and the first pick overall went to the Canadiens, and they drafted left winger. Let me try this. Juraj Slavkovsky. Then he's the first Slovakian-born player drafted first overall. And in probably what's the most NBA thing the NHL has ever done in the history of their organization is that the Arizona Coyotes front office, and I quote, stunned all six people that were at the draft, the NHL draft yesterday, with matching suits. And like I said, this is the most NBA thing possible.
Little NHL drip.
I'm just trying to talk a little bit of shit about this fake sport everybody calls hockey. Moving on over to real sports. In women's soccer, the United States women's national team qualified for the 2023 World Cup with Mexico's 3-0 loss to Haiti on Thursday night.
Wait, they backed in?
They backed in, but they didn't really back in. They took care of what they needed to.
But then something else happened on their end.
Where they got it.
Do the girls and the guys nationally, so the World Cup is in 2023, right? I assume.
Yeah,
now we know that
it's not simultaneous.
So they're not in the same place.
It's alternate. It's alternate too.
So 23 would be women, 24
would be something to that effect,
or something to that effect, because we have no idea.
We've only been.
Where you at, Salerno?
Moving on over to the Diamond. Now we have some Mets issues or news, I could call it. Chris Bassett. I don't know if he's calling out MLB to stop COVID testing or what he's doing, but he went on a pretty epic rant yesterday. I'm not going to get into it, but I feel like Chris Bassett is shooting up the ranks of at least my favorite player. I don't really care about the issues.
So tell us how you feel.
But I just like how he speaks his mind, and I respect that.
Can he get in trouble for that, though?
He's definitely getting fined. He'll get a fine.
I don't know.
They
I don't
will.
know.
Why? He admitted that he had it.
I don't know. He didn't do anything wrong in
But he
terms
said
of
he'll
breaking
never
protocol.
tell him again.
But he's allowed to speak his mind and speak out of anger. I don't know.
He did the right thing.
Fine, but the Mets will clean this up and they'll say like, all right, we fined him $25,000 and blah blah blah.
No, exactly.
I'm sure the
Spoke his
guy's
mind.
making millions, and a little fine's not going to hurt anybody. Speaking of the Mets and the offseason in the front office, and the Mets do believe that Jacob deGrom will opt out. Now, I don't think this is big news. I think most Met fans kind of anticipate this anyway. As a Yankee fan, I've experienced this with CeCe and A-Rod, and they both ended up back. It's just a posturing thing. It doesn't mean that it's over in New York for Jacob deGrom, but if he hits free agency, we all know how that plays
Uncle
out.
Steve's not going to let that.
Why do you think they
cases.
would announce that mid-season when they're doing really good?
Motivation.
Well, I don't know. Look, here's the thing.
I can see if he was staying.
It's not an announcement. The Mets didn't release a statement saying we think.
No,
DeGrom,
I know that.
But there's somebody that
insider.
knows somebody that talked to Jeff Passan or one of these other reporters that, inside information and a trusted source, which some of these things tend to be real. I mean, what else are we going to talk about? As long as it's not Aaron Rodgers, I believe all the sources, just so we're clear.
And his third eye.
And the Mets do still have a season to play this year, right? So while Jacob deGrom returns and he's working on his return and he might opt out, they are still looking to add some guys for their lineup and bolster their lineup with a Nelson Cruz, who I think it might be about 4 years too late.
Yeah, but he's like the best
kicking
September
the tires
edition
on
ever.
Nelson Cruz. I know. I just
Every
felt
year.
like he
You know
should have been a Met
Alonso
years
is like
ago.
Wait a minute. I thought he was playing somewhere.
He's on the Nationals.
So what do you
Yeah.
mean adding him by trading for him?
Yeah, there's like
they're trying to
the
do
Nationals-
something.
Trading the assets
The
for Nelson
Nationals are
Cruz.
definitely going to be trading people. And I also read that Benintendi is probably on his way to New York,
Yep.
which is
Seen that too.
not really a fan, but he's the anti-Joey Gallo. His
Oh.
strikeout percentage rate is like 13%.
You saw your boy hustle down the line pulling A-Rod?
I love it. Love it.
He tried to drag
But
a bunt. I was
Alonso
like,
is
what is he doing?
second in NL MVP voting right now,
Yeah.
like odds-wise, behind
nice.
Goldsmith.
All right. So moving off of baseball over to MMA, and MMA in Hollywood, I guess you could call it, because after Adesanya's fight, Chris Pratt tweeted out that, or he had quoted
you
where
saw
he
that.
said that he wasn't a fan of the entrance and all the hype that led up to, and then a bunch of pitter patter out there. And he kind of criticized Adesanya. Adesanya fired back and said, "Hey, bro, you're just a fan.
Yep.
At the end of the day, the next time you go out and walk into a cage and have the cage door locked behind you when you fight somebody, then you could criticize me." And in true Chris Pratt form, honestly, I think the guy stepped up and he was like, "Hey, Izzy, I was wrong.
Right away.
I apologize. I hate when people go
I mean,
watch my movies."
He doesn't give himself enough credit. This man took down raptors. Okay, why are we doing this?
Fair point.
Thank
I
you.
feel like
And
Izzy kind of
aliens.
looks like
And
a
aliens.
Guardian of the
raptor.
Galaxy too.
My God,
I was shocked he did that though. Like right away, I was like, "Listen,
He
you know
knew.
what?
But it's
He
true.
knew.
It's
But he
true.
bet-
I mean, like, I was surprised to see the comment anyway. My guess is that he got hit up right after the main
I was
event. He was a little drunk,
toasty.
and he
you,
gave an
Bailey.
honest opinion that he would give to you, me, or any of his
Anybody
boys.
in the room?
Right. So not me and Chris Pratt are boys, by the way. If you didn't know, now you do. NBA news. Lakers and the Nets are still working out the specifics of a Kyrie trade. There's some obvious roadblocks. I think it's the salary. I also don't think that the Lakers really want to get rid of more than just Russ in terms of players, because they do need some depth. And there's news now that the Spurs are going to be brought into the trade because the Spurs are cleaning house. And I don't know if this is a salary thing or what, but the Spurs might take on some of these contracts to make this trade work. The news was released, keeping it in Brooklyn, that the Nets actually made an offer to Minnesota
Yeah, what an offer.
involving Kevin Durant. And I think the offer is so crazy. I'm going to get into it. It's Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and four future first round
Suns
picks.
in four.
So to me, all that means is that if that's a real thing and that's what the kind of haul they're expecting, KD will be in net next year. Because no team is going to give that up. No team could afford to give that up.
It would be nice to
And
bring
Kevin
Karl
Durant-
Anthony Towns back to the tri-state area.
Nobody's talking about this KD Achilles and, how I know he's 2 years removed and he's probably back healthy now, but he's still on the wrong side of 30.
Yep.
He's got a lot of games played, a lot of postseasons under his belt.
Are you diminishing his value right now?
I'm not diminishing his value. I think KD is an instant contender. Your team is almost an instant contender depending on if
the pieces around
the pieces
him?
around
Oh,
him.
I don't know. They had Harden and fucking... And
Meaning,
then
like, if he goes to Utah, I
Kyrie.
don't think they're a contender, really. But if he goes to the Lakers or if he goes to the Heat or if he goes to Milwaukee or Phoenix, then they're a contender.
So what you're
right
saying
away.
is KD can't do it on his own.
Well, nobody can in the NBA.
We have a question coming in from how you say that, Dave? Look you or
Oh,
music?
LaCorey. It's Joe LaCorey. Who's faster, Gooch or a Raptor? It's
I
tight.
don't know.
Depends if he's wearing
Is
his
it a baby
cleats.
raptor?
I don't know. Do I have my cleats on? Yeah. Anyway, back to the rundown. Summer League news. Chet Holmgren got bodied yesterday by
did.
Kenny Lofton
He did.
Jr. Kenny
Now-
Lofton Jr. is 6'8", 295.
Kenny
or something.
Lofton Jr.
No relation.
No
His
relation.
father's like a U.S. Army vet.
Okay,
I looked it
so
up.
no, all right. So no,
So,
Kenny
yeah,
Lo- all right.
Built like a big Paul Pierce.
Yeah,
right?
bro, for real. And he actually
why-
had the stroke yesterday. He backed him down a few times and had.
Well, good for him.
By
though.
the time he shot his layup, and Chet Holmgren blocked the back of the backboard because he got bodied so bad down below the baseline.
He didn't know where he was at the time. He's like, I still got room.
And then Kenny Lofton Jr., I don't know if this guy's here to stay or what, but he's a G League guy. And John Morant was
How many-
dapping him up. In
How
his
many leagues
debut.
are there?
G League, NBA, and then Summer League is like a mix of the G
Isn't there
League.
D and E and,
guys
is there a whole
that-
alphabet?
Guys
or
that
no?
are like just getting their feet wet. Summer League is like Drew.
the G League's
it's
been
like-
working out for the NBA though,
lot
for
of
what
guys.
they wanted
Absolutely.
to do. Yeah,
What does it
absolutely.
stand for? Anybody know?
I was
It
like
used to be
developmental.
the D League, and it was
Yeah.
developmental league. Now it's the G League. Gatorade. I don't know.
It's working out for them.
Sponsored
They're
by
using
Gatorade.
it basically as
Um,
like a AAA, like baseball.
In other rookie news in the Summer League, we had Paolo Banchero went for 17, 6, and 4, and he went head up with Jabari Smith.
Mhm.
Did nothing of note. At least I didn't see anything in the headline that Jabari Smith did anything. But Jaden Ivey had 26 and 6. Does anybody know what the Knicks rookie is doing in the Summer League?
They didn't draft one.
Oh, that's right. The Knicks don't have a rookie.
Nobody.
well, no,
in
they
the
have
Summer
that.
League.
They do have the one kid who they took in the second round.
Second round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now
Did they even
So,
play a
so
Summer
technically
League
they
game
don't
yet?
have a rookie.
I'm here for the Summer League, by the way.
I
It's
love
the
it too.
perfect-
Can you
it's
bet on the Summer League games?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure you can.
Oh my God, Kyle, get all
I don't
over
know
this.
what books. I don't see it on.
I don't. Yeah, I've never
I don't
seen
see it on BetMGM, but I haven't really looked either. So I'm here for the Summer League. I think it's great. Like for your post NBA, the draft happens right away, and then
Yeah, it's
you just
right.
get
It's right away.
yeah, you get
So
these
it's like-
stats, and it's like the new guys that we haven't.
Is
seen
my
much
main
of.
man Brunson playing?
No, he
in the
wouldn't
Summer
play.
League?
No,
It's,
he's-
Damn it.
He's eating and he's on vacation.
Yeah, like he
somewhere.
needs
He's
the
a
reps.
Fat
You know.
bastard.
Oh, now Brunson's
All right.
fat. He's not Harden.
He's not skinny.
All
He's like
right.
Felton.
Here's Kyle coming in. It used to be the NBA D League developmental. Gatorade became the main NBA sponsor, and they changed it to the G League for Gatorade. What a call,
Money!
guys!
Whoa!
Commanders, G League. What else you
You
guys
heard
can
it
think
here
of
first.
next?
The
From
G League stands for
downtown.
Gatorade.
Got it. Wow. Holy
So-
shit. Good job, dude.
All right, now talking
Well
about
done.
all those sports. Now we actually have the sport, the real sport.
Ah, yes.
Von Miller and Trayvon Diggs have spoken,
Don't you?
and this is involving the
Mm.
Dallas Cowboys. So
Mm.
Von Miller, I don't know if he's trolling the Cowboys fans.
No,
or what he's doing, but
mm-mm.
He came out and said if Dallas would have made even a slightly more substantial offer, he would be in Dallas right now. I don't know about that
He said,
because
and I
Buffalo's
quote,
a really good situation.
and I
for him.
quote, I would have taken less to go to Dallas, but not that much less.
Yes.
So here's the ding. Here's the ding.
Here's the ding.
Here's the ding. The thing is, he signed for 6 years, 120 over with Buffalo. The Dallas Cowboys offer was 5 years for 70.
One extra year.
50 million less. So yes, significantly less. They guaranteed him 28 of the 70. So 2 seasons worth of $14 million guaranteed. Bro,
Could you
this is
imagine-
just another
Could
example.
you imagine how much better the Cowboys would be if they had no Zeke, Tony Pollard, like a second round running back this year, and Von Miller?
Like an actual.
They'd have like
just
8
to
million.
the top.
They'd have like 8 million more in cap right now, right?
They
Because
that's the problem. And that's my problem. They have the money.
no, they would have even more.
No, but I'm saying they have it now.
and they would probably have Cooper.
and they have not even remotely
they'd probably-
addressed.
They'd probably have Amari Cooper too.
No, I think that was, you know what? Believe it or not, according to my sources, I think that was a fractured thing for quite some time. And I think, and I know that I said to you today in our office, I said, call me crazy, but Prescott might have better numbers this year than he did last year, minus Amari Cooper. He might be the dink and dunk guy again. Who
And
cares?
maybe they're
Man,
trying to
but
open up room.
That's what works
maybe,
for him, though.
maybe they're trying to
Yeah.
open up room for the future super team that we're going to have in either Dallas or Buffalo, apparently, because Trayvon Diggs said that he wants to play with his brother. Maybe he didn't say he wants to, but I think reading between the lines that he definitely wants to play with his brother.
JoJo
Stephon
comes
Diggs
in with
just
a
signed a big
scheme fit. That's a Stephen Jones thing. Like nobody's thinking.
Stephon Diggs just signed a big extension, so it doesn't look like he's going to be leaving
Nope.
Buffalo anytime soon. And Trayvon Diggs, he's not extended yet. He doesn't
I
have
mean,
any money.
he was a rookie 2 years ago.
Understandable, but I know that.
So
there's
now
some
he's in
team
year
control.
3. So now all of a sudden, being that he's a second round pick, there is no 5th-year option. It's just straight years.
Or they're just going to drag this thing out and they're going to really aggravate their player. And he's under team control for
if I had to
3
make
more
one
years.
prediction as to who goes where, if that would have ever happened, Stephon Diggs is a Cowboy.
Like at the tail end.
Stephon Diggs is a Cowboy.
Why would Stephon Diggs leave there when he's with Josh Allen?
I'm just hear me out.
Okay.
Like that's
I need to hear
my
this.
that's my prediction
I think
because
that if you see like by the time Trayvon Diggs is going to be due his contract after the franchise tags and all that kind of
Because you
stuff,
got Micah Parsons got to get paid first,
which
right?
is going to be like right around
and
when
he's a first round
it'll
pick,
be
so he's
right
gonna get
around
option.
when Stephon Diggs is in a situation where he's like, all right, now I'm on the back end of this contract that I just signed. And Buffalo might be looking at a declining player that's asking for a
That's
lot of
why
money.
I think that's
So it could be a trade situation, but are you really going to end up mortgaging draft capital? Because that's what it'll take.
That won't. They won't take
probably
that.
be like a third.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It won't take
by,
that at the
by
end.
then, maybe, yeah.
But Julio
probably.
went for a second and he was damn near dead. So
Very true. But I think if I had to make a prediction of where the Diggs brothers play, it's in Dallas. Tail end of, well, not even tail end, but like over 30 league over there in Dallas.
Casey Hammond coming in. The Cowboys' way for the last decade is to be absolutely petrified to make big free agent signings. If they're spending money on somebody, it's likely somebody they've drafted.
100%.
I don't
Casey, you're right.
disagree with the philosophy, but I think when you get close,
We like our
when you-
guys.
when you get close is when you have to make that calculated risk and sign a free agent. The Packers never did it, and now they're finally starting to. I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, but
when
really,
they did,
they haven't. Though.
if you could name the 2 free agents that the Packers have signed, big time free agents over a 20-year period, there was 2 real guys that they've signed. It was Reggie White and Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
Other than that, seriously, look through the list.
Look at the
you
list of
really
Dallas.
I can't think of anybody.
Look at
else.
Dallas, though. Honestly, it was Dion in like right.
That was did they like Parcells? I thought Keyshawn and Parcells had a relationship from the
I thought
Jets.
The Jets, you would assume, but
Yeah.
I don't think that was the total opposite. But the Cowboys, MO, same thing. They don't like spending the money. And look, just like you said yesterday about first round quarterbacks, like you might be in a situation where you're saying signing these big guys doesn't really pan out for a lot of these teams. So Dallas's philosophy is pay your boys that deserve to be paid, and then that's it.
Overpay in some cases.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes overpay.
All right.
The Dak contract was not an overpay. That was a market. The Z contract was an overpay. That wasn't the market. That was just keeping this man around. So anyway.
two more points before we get into actually one, and then the other one bleeds right into the first topic. But Baker Mayfield, I guess more details have emerged on the trade. Baker Mayfield actually took a pay cut with less guaranteed money. I think he's making overall $3.4 million less this season, which I'm kind of surprised the Players Union didn't step in on that. It's not really a restructure, I don't think. It's just signing bonus money is being voided, which I find to be insanity. And the Panthers are officially on the hook with Baker for $5 million this season. So I feel like that right there means that he could still be cut.
Have you ever
what the
actually
cap hit would be for Darnold?
Can you think about a scenario right now that technically, if it comes to fruition and Baker's a starter week 1 against the Browns, that technically by rule the Browns paid $5 million to lose to Baker Mayfield. That's the most
They're
Browns
definitely
thing you
paying
can
him,
ever
yeah.
think about doing.
Well,
you paid a guy
really
to
10.
lose to that guy.
10.
Whatever they're on the hook
Yeah,
for.
they're
I
paying
think
the
I thought it was 5 total.
The Browns are
Or no, it was
picking up 10.5 mil.
I'm sorry, it was I'm wrong.
Right,
I'm
it's
talking about
500
I'm breaking it down per game. I saw this stat yesterday.
Mhm.
I think your brother actually posted it. It's like $500 grand.
500 grand. Yeah.
500 grand to lose to Baker Mayfield.
It will be 10. It's 10.5 million that the Browns are on the hook for, and 3.4 of the million got deferred, and then the remaining money is what Baker's owed, and that's $5 million. And that's owed by Carolina.
Okay.
Last but not least, NFL exec Troy Vincent called flag football the future of the sport, and that the NFL, I guess, Players Union and the NFL Rules Committee, I don't know what committees are banding together, but they're banding together and trying to get flag football to be an Olympic sport.
Yeah, baby.
I can't wait, and I think that would actually change the game for the Summer Olympics. I guess they would have to play it in the summer.
Yes.
And my question is, would there be NFL players? Would there be former NFL players? Was it going to get Arch Manning? Are we going to get the NIL kids all involved? Very curious to see how this is going to play out. And
should be
the United States will simply never lose.
Should be me, honestly. I'm an Aberdeen Hall of Famer from the Tab Ramos Sports Center. I led the league in all-time receptions as a tight end, and I would definitely play in this if invited.
Like, what's that?
If invited, I would play.
What do they play? The thing where they're on the ice and they throw the thing.
Curling.
It should look like that. Like the guys are out there, look like they just dropped their kids, their mom off, their wife off at Target with the kids. They're out there. They should be able to drink a beer, a natty, and they should be out there playing. That's what it should look like.
I know enough.
Everybody
I think we know enough guys
in the Olympics.
Yeah,
for the flag football.
Oh,
thing.
like beers?
Yeah,
it should be mic'd up, dude.
I mean, flag. They play softball in the Olympics and they don't drink beers. So like, if they're not, but I do think it would be an amazing thing. Maybe even just allow performance enhancing drugs.
Oh my god,
for that sport alone.
The Olympics are the ones that like banned it because of fucking what's this guy?
I'm curious to know what the rules are going to be though. Is it going to be an 8-on-8 full 100-yard field with like 3 down linemen?
And you wear those funky helmets, the ones with the padding.
But they should though.
Yeah, of course.
Or is it going to be like a 7-on-7 drill with no protection? And
but
you
it
just
should
get
be like a 7-on-7 though.
Time downs where like the quarterback has to release the ball before 5 seconds or something like
and
that.
Just blow a whistle, blow it dead.
Like a normal 7-on-7.
But I don't like that because it takes away the ability to get away from evade pressure. So there has to be a pass.
I would 1000% go recruit guys from the A7FL to play in this.
Well, yeah, that's probably
because those guys are animals.
Or
and I know it's flag,
but
they're built different.
I would just go to the NFL camps and be like, okay, who are the best guys cut?
Yeah,
they're the best players.
Give me your
like your 54th player.
Yeah. Like who are you cutting?
Right.
We'll take him.
Go to the practice squad. Practice squad NFL guys right now can beat the entire world in flag football.
What do you think this will do? Because
JoJo coming and saying he was the all-time recess Russian leader. So
JoJo, you are officially recruited.
Not at fucking school 27 you weren't.
I mean, he's not from around here. Like he's not from around here.
I know. But I'll put up my stats against anybody.
Do they call?
Bro, I didn't get the nickname cleats for nothing. All right.
Wow. All right. I'm moving to Thailand to make their Olympic flag team. They're already calling me the Bangkok Brady.
That's another thing you'll see. You'll see guys from whatever descent
go home and
playing in the
basketball
Olympics.
and hockey.
But you know what I think it would ultimately do? If you look at, I've talked about this on the show in the past. Basketball was largely like there was a few international players in the early 90s, late 80s, not many, right? Only like the real good ones, but there wasn't many of them. Once 1992 happened and the Dream Team, they allowed NBA players into the Olympics. They went over to Barcelona and they set the world on fire. Everybody wanted to play basketball now because they got to see Michael Jordan up close and they did their world tour. If the plan is to get the Olympics watched, you have to put the NFL guys in.
At least a couple.
Or at least some famous players.
Like poster boys. I'm talking, if you want to go out there and put a Josh Allen as our quarterback, you know what I'm saying? Then the world would see and he would put the world on blast. And you want a receiver like we were talking about before. Or Tyreek Hill or like a Terrell Owens and Ocho Cinco. Those guys can still ball.
The Pro Bowl, they do this.
Yeah.
Oh.
We did it. They did it.
We hear that?
No Pro Bowl.
It just hit the desk.
We do this.
So what I also think it would do is over time, if you get football as an Olympic sport, over the course of time, you're going to see many other countries. And I know that right now the United States has a football problem with youth. And there's really like a smaller talent pool. It's shrinking in places where there's a lot of money. People are playing lacrosse. People are playing hockey. And they're steering their kids away from playing football. If you bring football to the international scene, there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of talent internationally. And if you bring these stars around and they do this flag football world tour, you might start to see youth football leagues popping up in Europe. And I'm sure there might be some already.
We were friends with the guys at NFL flag.
Europe, they had.
And then 20 years down the line, you see a little more of an influx of talent from international talent like you see right now in the NBA.
Absolutely.
So I think it's good for the future if they want to keep, because you're not going to get people to play football in the Olympics because the United States would literally just kill people. Right.
Correct. I agree.
But if you get some flag football, it's a little less risk and you could get some skills developed at an age. And in 20 years time, for Olympics time, you'll see some international players that are real prospects.
I am so with this idea.
Well, like you said, if they were to play regular tackle football, it wouldn't even be close. We would down. We'd probably shut teams out.
It would be the dream team all over again in football.
But if they played, watered down 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 flag, I agree with you. After after two Olympics, it would be you would see the kid from Germany. We're like, oh, that that kid can definitely play.
Yeah, that
here.
kid's a baller
Or,
over
you
there,
know-
right?
you know what
He'll
I
be the
mean?
new
And it
Frankfurt Galaxy
It gets
quarterback.
kids to play. Look, they had, and when you played Madden for like the first one for PS2, you could play with Barcelona.
Frankfurt
and
Galaxy.
Germany.
That's what I just
but I
said,
think
yeah.
that they've tried that, but the problem was that they weren't NFL stars, and it's no,
No, you're
different than
right.
the USFL or these guys that are Canadian football. Like it's big where they're at, maybe, but it's not. It's not like they're trying to take guys that are not good enough, and you're taking not the best in the world. Like if you want to put out a product to get people interested in, you put the best in the world on the field, and people are going to show
Get
up.
the eyes on them.
You know,
on
the
display,
Jaguars,
at least for the first
the
year.
Jaguars sell out at
It's
Wembley.
true. No, you make a point, bro.
You know?
Yeah.
So-
Very true. Australia would send a team full of punters, according to Bailey.
It'll definitely
It's great.
help eradicate the issue of the youth in America stopping to playing football. If you have that bigger pool, I'm curious.
It's
to
true
see how
because
that'll
you
play
would
out.
they would, with youth now, when I was a kid, you used to be able to play tackle at like 5. There was no flag football when you're in Pop Warner. Now it's like you play flag till you're like 8 or 9.
That's a Keensburg thing. Colonia had a
No, but
I played
no.
flag football up until I was 7, and then they transferred me.
now
They
it's
put the
pretty much,
pads
yeah,
on me at 8.
everywhere.
I couldn't even play. I'm so old.
You know,
They
I
didn't even have a league until I was 8. There was no
Leather
flag
helmets.
You know
football.
what's funny? I was a member of the first ever Ford's Bearcats Mighty Might team. So like when the Mighty Might
Well,
division
yeah.
came out, I was in the inaugural team.
I just think, like you
What's
said,
that?
this,
I like that.
this
Huh?
gets, this
What
gets
word is
kids.
Inaugural. That's another one of those words I can't say,
The grammar
man.
police. Woo, woo.
Damn it, son of a bitch. Anyway,
Hey, look here. Sean
What?
Reddit coming in. A good friend of mine played at Cowboy Stadium for the Team USA versus Team Mexico in the Dream Bowl. They won by 50.
Well, there you go.
I think the Cowboys actually had that. Remember the guy from last year's Hard Knocks? I know you don't watch Hard Knocks, but like, I want the cake. I forget his name. It's a lineman from Mexico. He's part of the plan. Like they have an agreement. Not just the Cowboys. I think this is like an international thing for the NFL. You almost have to carry a Mexican-born player on your practice squad at the very least, or some shit like
Wait,
that. I don't know. I could be very wrong on that.
I
one.
believe that.
I just know the Cowboys at least have one, and he should make
They
the
probably
team.
have a
this
lot
year.
more than one, but I get what you're saying. They
Oh,
got to
yeah.
have players from different countries on the team.
That's not fair to Puerto Ricans.
Well, Puerto Rico's not
It's
technically,
not.
but it is
Puerto Rico's not
USA.
international to me.
All right, well, it's
They're
not,
like the
it's not
51st
fair
state,
to-
you know what I'm saying?
You
Like-
could pick a fucking country, and it's not fair to that country. Is my point. All right.
All right. Anyway, I do want to let you guys know that the Chop Sports Daily is being brought to you in part by our friends over at the Fusco Agency. Are you guys worried that you're going to run out of money in retirement, or how you'll pay for long-term health care? If needed, will your family be okay? Stop worrying, start planning. A comprehensive retirement plan gives you security for greater control over your money. Michael Fusco can help. As president of the insurance agency, Michael can work with you to create a comprehensive retirement plan. He'll explore using life insurance and annuities to help you build a more secure future, so you can worry a little bit less now. Call 718-701-5787 to schedule your complimentary consultation. 718-701-5787. Guarantees and protections are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company. Some insurance policies are not available in all states. And of course, he's doing financing now. If you have customers, a small business, 540 FICO score or above, you can get approved for as little as $300. Prestige Tax Financing.com. My Artie has officially shit the bed today. I had some cool graphics at the end, and now it's just not gonna happen. So we'll fix that later on, but it's time to get into the meat and potatoes. Before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to Trent Williams. We didn't say it yesterday on the show. We didn't say it today on the show at all. First ever.
I didn't mention it in the
I don't
rundown
think you
yesterday.
did, because it would have sparked a debate. Trent Williams is the first ever offensive lineman to be given the 99 rating in Madden.
I know.
Still 23.
I made a beautiful fucking post.
It's posting today. I talked to Madison this
no,
morning.
I deleted it.
What?
It posted, but it didn't post right. I'll talk to you about it after.
Oh, son of a! I'm talking to Madison this morning. I'm like, "Yo, what happened?" And she's like, "I don't know." It didn't say. We gotta communicate, because I was like, "Oh, I was about to blame
I'll
Madison.
explain
Now I won't."
what went wrong with it and learning experience. Moving on.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so first 99 ever offensive lineman. I feel like this is a couple years too late. You could have gave it to Zach Martin. You could have gave it to
shut
Quentin
up.
Nelson.
Zeke,
You could have gave it to Zeke as a left guard.
right? Zeke looking thin for a fucking interior lineman.
Yeah, well, he's
I'm gonna put
about
on
to have
some
the
more
season of a lifetime. Nick Shine came in before saying we shouldn't be doing what we're doing today because this is just you poaching information and intel from players that are in your league.
Because that's what I do. I really am worried about what Nick Shine's. Nick Shine's got like 3 combined wins in 4 years of fantasy football.
Shout out to
in my
Nick Shine,
leagues.
by the way. Good luck today, buddy.
Yes.
We're with
Shout
you.
out to you, but your fantasy acumen is
All right, let's talk some fantasy football, ladies and germs, because it is time. It is time for fantasy football prep. In regards to today, Gooch put out a question pretty much on all faces of social media, either Facebook, Twitter. He put it out there. It seems to me that Gooch has himself a little bit of a predicament because of your team. But this is a great problem to have, I think, because you have 5 reputable running backs in a dynasty league. So now we're going to rank those guys, and we'll probably solve your problem before the end of the show. Okay. I know you're ultimately going to make your own decisions, but you're going to hear it from us.
Before you start.
Okay.
Now, I just play regular fantasy football. Every year I get new players. I draft new players. I don't do dynasty. Can you explain to me how long you've had this specific team?
Well,
and how long does like a dynasty thing usually
last year,
last?
the dynasty is as long as people
keep playing
in the league. But this specific dynasty we drafted last year, and it was an auction draft, so it wasn't like first pick, second pick, third pick. You had to nominate a player. If you nominate a player, whoever bids the most on that player,
you get a certain amount of salary.
You get a certain amount of salary, correct.
Okay.
So this was done last offseason.
This was last year's
and this is
draft.
the team that I'm left with right now. You could actually pull up the
lineup?
the full lineup right now.
So there's Gooch's dynasty team right now. He's led by the greatest quarterback of all time, Dak Prescott. His running backs, and this is what we're going to be talking about, David Montgomery, Nick Chubb are his starters. His flex right now is Cam Akers. His bench is stacked with great running backs, I think, J.K. Dobbins, Eli Mitchell, and A.J. Dillon. So there is a little bit of a predicament here because you have to cut how many of these guys?
So, this is a team where, let's just say, you have to keep 10 of these guys. I have 12 right here. So I have to drop 2 of these players.
Why? Now why? Okay,
because I have to make it. I have to drop down to 10 to make the roster. You're allowed to keep 10 guys, right?
12.
So, I took the kicker and the defense. You have to keep one of each of those.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to bother talking about that.
So 12 people on your roster always, but then you have to cap 10 when the season starts again?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you have 16 on your roster. So, long story short, we're drafting 4 guys from the rookie draft,
from the new
guys
draft.
that are dropped.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So
I'll go back to
pull up the Yep. So right now the situation that I'm in is like you're allowed to make trades 2-for-1s pre-draft or pre. So I could take 2 of my players, like let's for example Dak and David Montgomery, and I could trade those 2 for Pat Mahomes. If there's a player that's in need of another keeper because they don't have 10 worth keeping or they need a running back help, etc. So my question here is just ranking these. Well, I would like to package people together and keep AJ Dillon if possible. But
Homer.
As of right now, I'm probably going to keep all 5 of the running backs and drop Dak and AJ Dillon.
Dropping Dak. You're out of your mind.
Reason being is every player in the league has a quarterback, so I'll probably just be able to draft.
All right, so let's rank them then.
Dak.
And Sean Redden said cut Eli Mitchell, and we'll get into that because we have 5 guys here on your roster.
You can pull up the running back graphic again. Right?
5 running backs on your roster, and now let's rank them. So for me, you want to start at 5 and go to 1?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Ahead. So my 5th ranked running back of your running backs right now is David Montgomery. And I know there's a lot of people on the Montgomery train. I'm not one of those guys. One, because I think the piss poor team, like the Chicago Bears are going to be trailing a lot, meaning a lot of throwing. Also, Justin Fields, a lot of running. So the volume might not be there. He only averaged 3.8 yards a carry last year, which is very low. To me, if you're a good running back, you're going to get to the 4 or higher, meaning if they give the ball to you 3 times in a row, you're going to get me a first down. That's my logic, right? Mm-hmm. So 3.8, you're not there yet. 7 touchdowns. He caught, this is a stat for him, caught 42 balls out of the backfield last year for 301 yards. I just don't see it. He had 225 carries last year. I think that goes up with the dismissal and removal completely of Tariq Cohen. I know they have a couple guys back there that's
a good point
that they've had already on the roster because Montgomery was banged up last year. That's why he comes in at 5 for me.
Okay.
Should I just go 5-1 and then you just critique?
No, I'm gonna like what you said about Montgomery. I feel that way about 3 of the guys
I feel the same way about another one of these guys.
Really,
too.
like we're looking at Lamar Jackson, we're looking at Justin Fields, and we're looking at Trey Lance as the quarterback for 3 of these running backs. The same thing where Justin Fields is going to eat into Montgomery. All 3 of those guys are going to lose significant carries. So
Agreed.
my thing is like obviously all these guys are top 3 to 4 round draft material, but none of them stands out to me as the clear cut one. Maybe Cam Akers does because outside of the injury.
I got a clear cut one if you want me to give you a clear cut
who's
one.
your clear cut one?
Nick Chubb.
Chubb
is not close to me.
I think Akers is a good two.
Chubb last year, 1,259 yards, 8 touchdowns. He had a long for 70. The guy's got burners. Hunt is still on the team, obviously, but I don't know for how much longer. And we're talking dynasty here. So we're talking like you're going to have this guy for the long haul. Nick Chubb's my guy. And on top of that, Watson, when he's there and playing eventually, whenever the hell that is, like, no matter what quarterback they have, they know they have a good running game. You know what I'm saying? This is something they will rely on. I don't see Deshaun Watson as the dynamic guy that everybody thinks he might be going forward. He might be more of a pocket passer, change his game up a little bit, but have the ability to run. Chubb is the guy by a landslide for me as far as the number one out of those guys.
See, I feel like Chubb, while he has the most proven track record out of all these players, that's part of the problem for me. And since he has such a proven track record, there's a lot of data to break down. And over Nick Chubb's career with Cleveland, he's only received 5% of the targets out of the backfield. He doesn't catch the ball at all. I think he has 40 catches in his career.
Not everybody's equipped to do so.
To me, that's an issue. He does get goal line usage, but so does Kareem Hunt. So there's a little bit of a...
There was an emergence of D'Ernst and whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, but that was because of an injury.
I understand, but he's still on the roster.
Guy there. But the lack of pass usage in the passing downs, the lack of just guaranteed carries because of the Kareem Hunt presence, and the amount of usage that he's had over the past 3-4 years leads me to believe that he's on a downward trend. And because of the uncertainty surrounding Deshaun Watson, he may not play one game this season. And then if Jacoby Brissett is the starting quarterback, you're going to see a lot of 10-man boxes, and everyone's going to be fucking stacking the box against Nick Chubb. So he's going to have no room to run.
Not a slouch, though. I mean, he's a journeyman.
Couple that with the fact that I think Nick Chubb has the best name value here out of everybody. And how much better is he than anybody else? I'm not so sure.
Well,
but
let's break it down.
I could get more for him in a trade.
Let's break it down because
that's a good point. If that's what you're looking to do, though, yeah,
I
mean,
definitely looking.
Sean Redden's rankings, he's got Chubb, Dobbins, Akers, Montgomery, Mitchell. See, I got Mitchell at 2 because of the volume. I think he's going to get fed a lot. I mean, right now behind him is Tyrion Price. He's a rookie. Then you got Jeff Wilson Jr., who's filled in from time to time. He was a hot waiver claim for a long time. Trey Sermon's still over there, but the only person that was rooting for Trey Sermon last year was AJ. Yeah, he was on. He was on the Trey Sermon train.
They've always rotated a lot.
I think with Eli Mitchell last year, with all that company and a couple games banged up, still rushed for 963.
No, I know.
So he is a formidable back.
I was definitely on the Eli Mitchell bandwagon last year. As you see, he's front and center in my post here. But the issue that I have with Mitchell really is that down the stretch, they didn't trust him. It was all Debo. And then in the postseason, it was all Debo. They didn't give Eli Mitchell the ball much in games that counted, and I don't know if that was a banged up situation or it's just that like they don't trust him in between the tackles.
I did look at his playoff numbers too, and yeah, they dropped off the face of the earth a little bit, but that Debo just emerged, and Debo was the kind of guy all year long where he just couldn't find a role, and then eventually he found it, and when he found it, they just went away from everything.
I would say that the two guys that I'm not going to trade is going to be Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins. Any of the other three could go.
But do you think with Trey Lance being the QB in San Francisco now that the offense is going to change kind of like what Baltimore does, where it makes J.K. Dobbins and...
Well, here's the thing about Baltimore, and I go along with the same testament that I just said about David Montgomery, where I feel like there's going to be a lot of running quarterback play, right, in their offensive scheme. But I'm looking at J.K. Dobbins from 2020. Now, I understand last year ACL missed the entire year, blah, blah, blah. J.K. Dobbins was averaging 6 yards a carry.
Yeah, no, he was a beast.
He's a beast.
And he was the most efficient back in the NFL that year with backs that had like at least 100
right.
touchdowns.
So
he had 10 touchdowns. I think 8 or 10 touchdowns.
I'm on the J.K. Dobbins hype train. I just worry, you're coming off an injury, and I know yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever the hell you said the ACL is almost like a sprained ankle at this point. I don't agree with that at all. I think an ACL is an ACL. You got to be wary when you're a running back. If you're in another position and you can adjust your game, that's fine. But if you're a running back, your main priority is to cut. You know what I'm saying? So he needs the ACL to be all intact. That's why I don't have him. I have him 4th on my list because of that. But I do think the guy's an efficient running back. Don't get it twisted. I do think there's going to be a lot of design runs. We saw Mr. Yoked. What's his guy?
Lamar.
Lamar's getting bigger, so you would assume that he's going to be trying to stay healthier in regards to taking hits. So he's going to continue to run the ball. I don't think Jim Harbaugh is or John Harbaugh is the kind of guy that's going to tell Lamar, hey, man, you can't be doing that anymore. That's Lamar's game. That's how he won the MVP. Yeah. So that's not going to change. The volume that J.K. Dobbins gets will change based on a healthier and stronger Lamar Jackson. That's why Dobbins, to me, is almost, I'm not saying cut him, expendable on this out of a top 5.
Yeah, no.
So what? So let's just
factoring in his age too.
What to say? What you would
Young,
want,
yes. Dynasty league, yes.
You're saying you want to package Chubb for.
So really,
picks,
if I had my way, Carlos, if you're watching, I'm probably trying to trade one of these running backs and Kittle for Mark Andrews, because like understanding that I'm going to lose out on the trade, the trade straight up. Whoever receives this is going to get 2 players that they're going to be able to keep, and I'm going to be getting 1, but I have to cut 2 guys.
Let's see. Who's your tight end now? Is your tight end in
it's
this
Kittle
right here?
Yeah,
so like I would take Mark Andrews over Kittle anyway, right? And then if I could trade another running back,
they're very similar to me. I think Kittle's more explosive, but they're very similar in what they have around them.
I'm taking Mark Andrews over Kittle just because Kittle's.
I like Andrews, but I think Kittle's a little bit more explosive.
I think that's an upgrade.
I just feel
looking for small upgrades here.
You're trying to keep AJ Dillon.
Well, if
this is a dynasty league and what this guy might be walking out the door, then yeah.
If I can make one move, it'll be Dak and a running back for a quarterback that's better than Dak.
You can draft a quarterback, right? Well,
I could. Trey Lance is available. There's rookie quarterbacks that are shit and available.
Oh yeah.
But look,
is your boy available?
Watson will probably get cut.
Is your boy available?
There's
other
other
teams. Talking about.
Jalen Hurts might get cut.
That's your boy.
Because other teams have 2 quarterbacks and have to drop guys. So there's going to be quarterbacks available.
So how long is your draft if it's you do a dynasty league? Like how long would the draft
16 rounds.
There's going to be 4 rounds.
Yeah, that's what I thought, like 4.
Yeah,
you mean going forward?
Yeah,
okay.
You only have to pick who you're getting.
See, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm like
I actually have an opening in a dynasty.
I want in.
Yeah.
Oh, I want in.
Wow, listen to this. Oh, you talk about the new one you're creating.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I thought you meant like the one you're in.
You mean like you were offended that I didn't ask you?
Yeah.
The guy that literally said, I'm done. This is it for me for fantasy this year. I'm in like 3 or 4 leagues already. You said this to me. So like, if I did have an opening in a league, I would be like, oh, Dave already told me he doesn't want to be in any more leagues.
You can double confirm.
Also, did anybody see the amount of spit that flew out of my mouth?
No, I did
not. Catch it, but
it was a distance. That was a 400-footer.
And no, Kyle asked me in the comments before, is this like your whole team? No, this is cut down. I already dropped some of the dead weight backups and things like that. This is a keeper situation, Kyle.
The problem I have with what you said before about, like, I understand what your logic is as far as like, you don't want to just drop somebody, right? You want to get value, but you're not really getting value if you trade them away and get a lesser player, is what I'm saying.
So who's a lesser player?
Like to trade Kittle away and you're one of your drop candidates for Mark Andrews, I feel like that's a downgrade only because you didn't want to drop him.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to. You understand what I'm saying?
But I'm saying that you're actually losing value by trading a guy that you're not going to drop. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I understand.
You're not going to drop Kittle, right?
But the guy that I'm keeping in both situations, I put Mark Andrews higher than. So, like, if I have to drop 2 guys, right? I package 2 guys in one trade and 2 guys in another, get a better player that I would rather keep in both trades.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't agree that
Kittle, lose both other players.
Andrews is better than Kittle. That's my, especially in Dynasty. Like
if we're looking across the board, and I'm not using projections as anything, but even in week 1 projections, Kittle's at like 11 and Andrews is at like 15.
It depends who they're playing.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, Mark Andrews finished way better than Kittle last year.
And also, let's not forget, and I've said this time and time again, a young quarterback's best friend is the intermediate underneath routes to your tight end. Mm-hmm. Kittle's going to get volume this year over a Mark Andrews, who, when he does sling it, it's not always the Andrews. He might be more on the touchdown side of things.
Both guys are going to get significant volume. I think Mark Andrews
I would give the nod to Kittle.
Mark Andrews is the clear number 1 target in Baltimore with the absence of Marquise Brown now. Who'd they bring in? They got Rashad Bateman. That's their wide receiver 1 right now. Mark Andrews is their biggest weapon on offense.
Definitely red zone. 100%.
Well, like I said, I just said that. I said the touchdowns might favor Andrews, down in the red zone, but I think overall, like volume-wise, Trey Lance is going to be looking all over the place for Kittle.
Are you guys big believers of try to package for fantasy-wise, try to get your quarterback, try to at least get their tight end or receiver on your team?
I like that.
Doubles.
Just because you get double points, right?
I did it last year with Dak and Dalton Schultz. Like that's... And I knew that Dalton Schultz wasn't ranked high.
Like my brother's been big on like the Mahomes Tyreek Hill thing. He's done that a lot.
Yes, it's like
my boy Greg won a championship with Brady and Moss one year.
You live and die.
The rest of his team was shit.
So you could hit.
Right. If they have a bad game,
you could have a really good team that shits the bed 1 week.
Right.
It's true though.
Give me all the Rams.
It is sustainable. It is sustainable to have multiple players on
Like,
one
are
offense.
you the kind of guy who drafts like 3 Cowboy guys every year?
I went to the championship in my own league last
Bro,
year.
you didn't hear the fucking 30 times he said it to me in that argument we had about fantasy?
I went to the championship in my league last year, lost to my brother, right? But I had Dak, Zeke, Schultz, Lamb, 4 Cowboys all year long. Never benched one of them. Lamb missed the game because of COVID, right? Never benched one of them. Schultz, I contemplated time and time again comparing him to other things. I always kept him in. I knew the Cowboys offense, and the Cowboys offense was ranked number 1 in yards and points. So, like, right away, I'm getting all their rushing, I'm getting all their receiving, and I'm getting all their passing. So, like, I knew that was going to be favorable in most games, and it paid off. I had a decent rest of the pack, you know.
Casey Hammond's coming in. Mark Andrews is in a Kelsey-like situation. Essentially, the team's number 1 receiver, regardless of field position or down.
Agreed. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Did you hear that one?
What?
That Mark Andrews is basically the same thing as Kelsey, as far as like no matter where he is, you can line him up in the slot. You can line him up. Yeah, I mean Andrews 100%. But I believe the same thing about Kittle. Like you can line him up anywhere. You know, so interesting. We didn't say or give any love or talk about in length about Cam Akers because, and again, yes, the Achilles thing.
There's a little bit
gotta
less
be weary
to
about
worry
that
about with Cam Akers than any of the other backs.
But 67 for 172, 67 touches in the postseason last year when he came back for $172. It doesn't really correlate.
He played like 2 games.
Yeah, but he came back off,
off an
Achilles.
Definitely 4 games.
He came back off an Achilles that he suffered that season.
You don't think that's preseason? You don't think because of what they've done in the offseason as far as Robinson, paid Kupp, got all this stock into the receiver game and a decent tight end. I love Tyler Higbee. Don't you think that there's a little bit more of a pass-heavy team with Stafford at the quarterback position?
I think it's going to be – no, I think with McVay, they're always going to be a run-heavy team because most of their stuff is off of the run. If you watch, like, their way McVay – everybody cut from that cloth is, like, their zone blocking. They just have an insane amount of weapons, so they're able to throw it around.
But I think everything builds –
just look at the roster. Like,
everything is going to build off the run game. And, look, to me, when you have a guy that's never going to see a stack box, you're going to have the defense is going to be spread out, 2 guys worrying about Kupp, this one worrying about Allen Robinson, Higbee being good, Stafford dangerous with his arm.
Maybe.
Possibly Odell.
Right.
So, to me, I think it's a prime situation for a guy to get not touched all that often. You know, the offensive line is above average in LA. They're a Super Bowl
they did lose the big boy. They did lose
yeah, but he was 91 years old, so I think they could make up for it.
He was still very good.
Very good, but also 91.
Leader on that team, though.
Definitely.
And to me, I think that he's going to get the job full go. Do they still have Sony Michel, or he's gone as well?
They have Henderson as one of their
Darrell Henderson Jr., yeah.
So they will give some guys some carries, but that's the nature of the NFL.
I have Akers ranked 3 to me.
I think Cam
Akers too.
I think Cam Akers has a chance to vault himself into a top 10 fantasy back this season. If you looked at what he did 2 years ago before his injury down the stretch, Cam Akers was that dude. He's a talented guy. We'll see what it comes out to post-injury, but KD had an Achilles, and he missed way longer, and he's way older. Different sport, different position. I get it, but
so right now they have Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson Jr., Jake Funk.
So they have 2
Great
backs.
name.
Jake Funk might. We don't know.
He's going to funk things up. Anyway, Akers, according to LaCourie, will have more fantasy points than everybody else we mentioned.
I believe so as well.
I agree too.
I believe so.
I don't know, man. I'm still on the
Chubb.
I'm on the Chubb train.
I also think he has a chance to have a lot of usage out of the backfield catching the ball.
Are we in unison with saying, and you're about to rank them, but are we in unison saying Montgomery's the worst out of the 5?
No, not at all.
Really?
I'm on your train. I've never been a Montgomery guy. I just don't see it.
I don't see it either.
The reason why I think all the things that everybody said about Montgomery, maybe I'm just trying to keep his stock a little high for anybody that's watching. I might say
you got to be careful out there. Tread lightly.
But Montgomery, look, I feel like the conversation's been the same about Montgomery every year.
Yeah,
right?
He's
only been around for 2.
But each of the last 2 seasons, you mentioned last year, he not only did he miss several games, he also had the low average of 3.8 yards per carry.
Playing from behind.
But guess what else he was? He was the 15th back overall in fantasy football. So he's a clear,
because I told you he caught 42 balls for 300 yards.
But that's what I'm saying. A clear, solid number 2. If he could stay healthy, he's going to get a lot of thrown a lot of passes this year as well. And his usage on the goal line and just his usage overall, they don't give the ball to anybody else in Chicago when he's healthy.
No.
They might pass the ball to other guys, but he's getting every goal line carry, or at least he has been. And I think that he's one of their stalwarts on offense, if you want to call it that. And they're going to lean on him heavy this year. Granted, that might lead to some injury and missed time, but I think that's par for the course with any back.
What the hell's a stalwart?
Stalwart?
Stalwart? What?
It's like he's like the cog, the main thing, like
Mhm.
the key
I
piece.
think you said stalworth. I'm like,
No.
why would you? I mean, I killed the guy.
For me, it's Chubb and Akers, like 1A, 1B. Dobbins, Mitchell, and then Montgomery. Mitchell, you just don't know what you're going to get with
See, I
that
like
offense.
Mitchell, man.
And
When
then
he's
we're
on the
talking
field,
about,
bro,
we're not
that
talking
boy
about,
is a
we're not-
horse.
Now, keep in mind, we're not talking about like what are they going to do this season? It's
Right,
like,
this is
which of
dynasty
these
now.
guys
Which
is going
guy's
to have
gonna
a better
carry
career
you?
going
That's
forward?
why I say Chubb by a
It's like
landslide.
To
a
me,
totally
it's
different
Akers,
thing.
Dobbins. I mean, Akers, Dobbins to me, and then it's Chubb, Montgomery, Mitchell. I think that the 49ers eventually will probably replace Mitchell. Could be as early as this year, but he's going to be.
When's the
get a
last
chance.
time?
If Trey Sermon makes it and works
Is
out,
Chubb a guy you're
he'll
willing to
be the
part
lead
with
back.
for the right price?
I would probably put Chubb at the top of the list of guys that I want to trade.
So you better be getting. All right, tell you right now, it's a dynasty league, so you better be
I would
getting.
trade Chubb and Dak.
Chubb and Dak
for Mahomes. in a
I would say
heartbeat.
Herbert.
I mean,
When's the draft?
I don't think anyone's coming off Herbert in September or
The
later
like
on.
a week
Yeah.
before the season.
Here's a
starts?
good question by Tim Riley. Do you think teams will start using receivers as running backs more often due to some of the recent success, the Debo effect?
Recent. It's been two guys that have recent success.
Well,
It's
that's
Debo
recent
and Cordell
success.
Person,
I
but
know,
it's
but-
recent. Two guys.
But
I'm saying, look at
you
Debo did.
never really saw the read option in the NFL until RG3 came, and then every fucking team kind of has.
Remember the
wrinkle.
Wildcat?
You know
that
what
was
I mean?
there for a minute.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be things
Still
that
there.
it's a copycat league. So yeah, you
But
might
Debo doesn't
see
want to do it no more.
The Wildcat.
money wise.
Can I talk about the Wildcat for a second? You want to talk about the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life is the
mean,
Wildcat?
I don't-
Why?
Ronnie
Why-
Brown.
Ronnie
Tore
Brown
them
with the Wildcat.
Patriots up. Dude.
The biggest, like, you're showing your card 100%. 9 times out of 10, that running back isn't throwing it. And 9 times out of 10, your lame duck quarterback is lining up as receiver. Like, you're going to throw. Like, Drew Brees. How many times did that guy was like, oh, my God, Drew Brees up top of your screen? What the fuck is Drew Brees going to do from the top of the screen?
The video
Nothing.
Cutler.
If your
Zero.
objective is to score a touchdown on every single play, then I think it's shitty. I
There
don't
you
like the
go.
Wildcat personally.
If you want to do it as a gimmick from the goal line,
I
go
think that
for it.
I think that there's some good reason to use it here and there depending on the personnel. I don't think that every head coach in the NFL has ever been smart, or they've all been smart. So some guys see it and they don't know how to implement it, and they do it just because everyone else is. But if you have the personnel, by all means, anything that's going to work.
But now,
if you need 3 yards,
to
this
Tim's
play gonna
point,
give me
to Tim's
4,
point,
I'm
do
doing
you think it's going to be a thing going forward? Are we going to find a lot more Debo Samuels in the drafts nowadays?
I think you're going to see that across the NFL, like you see it in the NBA, where you're going to just see guys that are good at all things, hybrid guys. What's the difference between a middle linebacker and a strong safety now? Not much.
Not much.
Right? What's the difference between
Very
an outside
true.
linebacker and a DN? Not much. And then a 3 technique. and
we're
70
even
ends,
calling them
not
edge
much.
at this point.
You know, so
like
there's a lot of guys that are playing slot corner and safety
Nickel,
and linebacker and like there's
'Cause I think the
there's a
athletes are
specialty in
getting
a lot
more
of guys.
athletic.
Specifically playing like a nickel corner. That's your
Same
position.
thing with his centers.
Jordan Lewis of the Cowboys, nickel
I think
corner.
what we'll start to see is the one thing that'll either stop it or like cause an issue, which is what you see with tight ends now, where the tight ends don't feel like they're getting paid enough because they're basically getting paid tight end
They're
money,
doing
but they're doing
everything.
wide receiver
Yeah.
shit.
Let me ask
and-
you something.
and
This-
outside
this could-
tackle shit.
You're right. This could be one of those things. Now, remember, baseball is banning the shift starting next year, right? Why? Why are they doing that?
Because money.
More balls in play.
They want hits. They want batting averages up. They want.
What is the NFL's answer to this going to be when all these offenses are scoring in the fucking thousands every year? What can you do? Because
The
you
answer
can
is going.
scheme
To,
up.
the answer is going to be
What are they
how
gonna
can
do?
we get more points?
Right. But
That's always going to be the motive.
But I'm saying, so what I'm asking you is, like, in specific, what are defensive coordinators going to dial up to stop some of this shit? And once it does become effective, do they ban it? Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
So no, you're
Like, baseball's doing it because they want more hits.
bro. You could have a fucking tackle that is really has good hands, line up tackle. Like, you're not going to be able to change what a team is able to do within their own parameters of a game. I don't think that's going to happen in terms of usage. But what you're going to start to have happen is players are going to have contract issues with teams because of the way they're being used,
Correct.
and holdouts and things like
I
that.
just know that.
But
there's-
as far as schemes go, I mean, it's hard to look your teammate in the eyes. Forget about everything else when you're fighting for a championship and be like, I'm not carrying the ball, or like have the rules come in and say, because, all right, well, I'm just going to list you guys at, like, what is Cordarrelle Patterson? Is he a running back or is he a receiver?
He's an enigma, is what he is.
And that's my point to you. So someone like that, and this guy
who just got paid based off that,
but he's also Cordell Passer's been in the league for a while.
He's a journeyman. He's been around.
So it's like someone like that. I get it.
They should have been using him like that since day one.
And that's my point.
And they didn't know what they had. Now the Falcons do.
So now it's like you got to pay this guy all this money.
I think it lends to the point now. We saw it twice in one season. You've seen it a couple other times with Ty Montgomery. But right now, the NFL execs are going to act like they don't even know what's happening. They'll be like, no. We just pay you to carry the ball in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Touches.
I don't know.
Touches. Quote, touches. How many times are you going to touch the ball?
In the offseason?
I'm interested. I'm interested to see where this goes because just like the question was raised about, are we going to see more for the Cowboys? They called him a web back, not a wet back, a web back, but like the guy that's hybrid, the guy that's in motion, the guy that you got to know where he is on the field at all times. I think every NFL team within the next 3 years, I'll give it 3 years, will have a Deebo Samuel. Somebody that's going to be the gadget guy that you got to be like, oh, fuck, where is this guy? Where is he on the field? Oh, he's lined up in the backfield? What the fuck? Oh, he's in the slot? Oh, what the fuck? Like, you won't know how to defend these guys until it's banned.
I think every team almost does have one.
Pretty
it's
much.
just that there's not a team. Every team doesn't have a Kyle Shanahan. Every team doesn't have a coach that's willing to implement this. And I think that's what it is too.
But here's the thing. To me, if you're an NFL head coach right now and you're not implementing this kind of shit, then you're just doing yourself a disservice. Your whole old school mentality is bullshit. The fact that like guys like Belichick, you're never going to see this kind of shit out of Belichick, but you need to. If the Patriots want to be a successful team this year, they need to have a guy like
running
this.
Backs are asked to do a lot. Running backs are asked to line up in the slot. It's just no different, and they're the least paid position in football outside of maybe guard and center. Anywhere on defense gets paid higher than a running back. Maybe middle linebackers and running backs in lockstep.
In that same breath, though. Right? The running back is the least highest position paid, right? The receivers are making stupid money.
Yeah.
So then like Deebo Samuel goes to the negotiation table and says, I'm a receiver. Stop treating me like a running back.
Yep.
No,
and he's going to get paid
handsomely. He says, I'm both. And I'm here at receiver, so I want my $25 million for receiver. And if you plan on using me as a running back, guess what? Now I'm Devontae Adams. Because now I'm getting paid.
And that's a great argument because 100% agree with you that a guy like Deebo and that position can revolutionize and reset the market because now I do it all.
So he's not the best receiver.
Remember Cordell Stewart? Anybody?
But if you combine his receiving with the ability to run and his willingness to do so, because here's the reason why, if I'm Deebo, I'm saying, fuck you, I'm not running the football no more. Because the minute that my usage is too high and I'm talking about Nick Chubb like he's not washed. It's like this guy played a lot, but in the NFL, when it comes down to it, there's going to be a point where they're like, yeah, we've used you a lot, so you're not worth it anymore. And the wear and tear that actually takes place when you get whacked going up the middle 8 to 10 times a game, in addition to running routes. I'm just saying Deebo deserves more money based on that.
So what do you think? So Deebo's still sitting out. I'm not sitting out, but he's still waiting for a deal.
I think the Deebo situation is layered because of that, because like there's a lot to cut through. If you're going to pay me as a receiver only and you're comparing me to the AJ Browns and the guys that just got 25 mil, cool. I'll take that.
But you better not line me up in the backfield.
I'm not carrying the football no more, and you're going to see a bullshit problem in the locker room.
My question to you and to the masses:
they got to pay him a little more, or stop using him.
Deebo Samuel going to reset the complete market of a paid player not named a quarterback? What I'm saying is Deebo Samuel now, before that contract is drawn out,
than Tyreek Hill,
is he going to make more money than guys like Tyreek Hill and all these other guys?
No.
My answer is yes, because of the fact that he's like, cool, receiver money. All right, cool. Oh, in addition, I want running back money too. Well, what's that? I want this kind of money. He's going to reset shit dramatically.
I'll restate my answer. He might get it, but it ain't going to be from San Francisco. So if San Francisco might have to come off of him a little bit and get some equity back, because they're not giving him $30 million.
No,
it's not going to happen. Otherwise, they would have already.
My thing is you're gonna see situations where they're gonna be like, okay,
there's no more. Yeah, I get you.
When you hit this many carries, or when you hit this many yards, or if you do this,
there's gonna be incentive based.
Then you're gonna have 100%. Coaches and owners saying like, 100%. Oh, he's got 10 more carries.
Do not give him the ball.
Don't give him. Don't run.
That's
don't
the same
run
thing.
and then
Antonio
that's gonna
Brown
cause chaos.
Antonio Brown's psycho ass said something like that. Like, if I get one more ball, I get a bonus, and all of a sudden he's fucking doing jumping jacks off the field.
That.
Like,
they
what
do
is
that
that?
to players? They
and,
do that.
Well, Gronk, you watched the Gronk behind. It was like the NFL films, and
when
Gronk,
he went to
when
Brady,
he got
like,
the touchdown.
I need, like,
He's like,
more.
I need 4 more catches and a touchdown for an extra $1 million. And Brady was like, like Gronk's getting it, guys.
He wouldn't let Bruce
That's
Arians take him out.
insanity.
But
So-
as you should. Though.
But then with that, there might be a cap. Like, if Debo signs for, let's just say, $26 million a year, right? There might be a cap. Like, if you get 75 handoffs, we'll change that to $27 million a year.
Like, this causes major friction between the coaching staff and the
Major
front
friction.
office. Because if I'm the coach, like, when it's time to run the team, like, I'm not looking at incentives at all. I'm definitely not calling plays to keep my team owner from saving money or to prevent him from spending money. Like, I'm calling the game as I see fit to win every game, right? So if you're coming up to me and you're like, yo, we're fighting for a playoff spot, don't use Debo out of the backfield anymore.
of course,
I'm going to be like, go fuck yourself, fire me.
yeah.
Right? And then you need to play the coach to step up for his player.
Oh, and you know what? That's already happening in the world of baseball. You know, like, now that Mr. Chapman is back, you will get something in your earpiece, Mr. Boone. Like, oh, that Holmes thing is working out really nice for you, but we're paying fucking Chapman all this money. He better be closing in a week. That's the kind of shit you worry about, and that's the kind of shit I worry about for guys like Deebo Samuel, because if there is a thing where he gets too much usage and it's in the context and the actual fine print of your contract, you will have GMs calling down to the sidelines and saying, Debo cannot get this ball on this last drive.
Yep.
I'm trying to save money here.
Ruining your team.
No,
it's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen on a well-run organization.
No,
I can promise you that.
Yeah.
It's not. All right. It might happen in fucking Miami. It might happen in Jacksonville, but it's not gonna happen in San Francisco. I just can't see John Lynch playing that card. I want to comment on something that Tim Riley's saying right here. And he's saying, okay, well, let's see how it does after this year. You've given defenses another year to study it. Now, I could understand if it was a gimmick thing, but it's not. It's literally lining Debo up as a running back.
Absolutely.
So it's like
you have to look at him the whole time. If you're a linebacker, you're
single back, Debo, gimmick out the window. It's just like hand him the ball up the middle between tackles. Like, that's the gimmick. It's like these receivers are the specimens that they are. They're able to do it all, and they're the best at running back too. You know, like that 6'3", 6'2" guy that's 220. He's the best running back in football.
I don't know if they're going to be built like that though.
Well, what do you think? Debo
Debo's
is
small.
6 foot?
No, he's under 6 foot, I think.
No, he's 6 foot.
I thought he was tiny. I could be completely off beat there, but I think that.
And he's a load. He's like 220.
I don't. Are you sure we're talking about the same guy
Debo's
here?
big.
I know Debo's like yoked and stuff, but I'm pretty sure he's shorter.
210 at least.
Really?
I'll be shocked if he's anything.
6 foot 216.
Damn, he's a unit. he's me.
Runs a 4.48.
I understand the 4.40.
So he's a running back, like a really good one. Like when we're looking at running
but
backs,
it's going to be paid like a receiver.
Javonte Williams is like 5'9" and 220, or you know, like
you guys are built like brick houses. But like I don't know, man. I think there's going to be a massive change.
Adrian Peterson's running around at wideout right now. Seriously, there's some fucking. Let's go through which other receivers would be really good running backs. I could go a lot.
That's just something like I would want, like Denzel Mims, who's a receiver for the Jets, who they don't do nothing with.
Rapper?
People complain about him, and like I'm like, dude, the dude's like 6'3", like 6'3", 220, like line him up like you do Debo. Let him do something. You're not doing anything with them.
Salah's got to do something. You know,
Yeah,
you got to take the pressure off of Zach Wilson.
Imagine DK
Metcalf. Oh my god.
I feel like he'd
or
fumble.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, another massive
Yeah, but
dude.
he's got no
And
knees.
that's a team for it.
But
Now
and
he's on the
Debo and
Eagles.
AJ Brown get compared to each other a lot. It's Treylon Burks.
He's a rookie. Nobody knows that.
And
But
fat as hell,
that's
can't
the pro
fucking
comparison
breathe.
is Debo.
No, yeah, well, big guy, yeah.
Interesting. Every team needs one. Every team needs one going forward. I think you need one on your roster. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah. Did you
Oh no,
guys,
not Randall Cobb again.
Randall Cobb. Oh no.
before you guys go,
Uh-huh.
did you hear about the Daniel Snyder situation?
What is it?
So
Escalated
they
to be
offered
breaking news. He's a piece of shit.
They want him to talk in Congress or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, he avoided that by going to the Bahamas. But yeah,
No, but so he has proof that his attorney sent stuff to them saying that he would show up via Zoom or whatever.
via
He gave
satellite
them
like a
certain
rock.
dates. It didn't work. They gave him certain dates. It didn't work. But here's the thing. They're trying to. There's two different ways you can, I guess, be brought into court. You could do it voluntarily.
Yeah.
Or they can subpoena you.
Yeah, he's been subpoenaed, but he hasn't accepted the
He
subpoena.
won't. If he won't,
You have to accept a subpoena?
Yes. So they're trying to get. Hey, listen. If he goes voluntarily, he could go. They could ask him as many questions as they want, and he could be like, "I was told not to answer this. I was told not," and he doesn't have to. If he accepts the subpoena, he has to answer everything under oath. That's why they're trying to make him accept the subpoena.
No shot.
They're not.
They're working on it right now.
Words of Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, there is no
games.
chance in hell that guy accepts a subpoena.
None. I mean, like, if he doesn't, he could get. You have to accept your subpoena eventually. Like, there's no.
Not according to ESPN.
Oh, ESPN is a fucking covering up for Daniel Snyder.
The committee is trying to serve Snyder with a subpoena to testify, but a spokesperson for the committee said last week that his lawyer has not yet accepted it.
We knew this.
In the letter to the committee,
we all know
Snyder's attorney said he would voluntarily testify, which, according to Dave something from Georgetown, is the oversight committee from 2011 to 2021. If you're under subpoena, you have to answer the questions posed.
Yeah,
if it's voluntary, you don't have to answer anything you don't want to.
So like, if you're subpoenaed to
Who
court,
is that interview?
if you're subpoenaed to court, subpoenaed to court, you have to accept a subpoena. If you don't accept a subpoena, you can't then voluntarily show up. And I think that's the problem. Right now, he's like, well, I want to volunteer to show up. And they're like, no, too late. We already fucking subpoenaed you. And when we're talking about court here, we're talking about, like, bro, if you didn't go to court,
I'd be arrested.
You'd be arrested. Daniel Snyder, you didn't go to court.
He's sipping on a mojito.
Right? Go to fucking court.
Like, they would knock on this door and come get any one of us.
Today, not tomorrow. This has been months now.
This is ridiculous. Daniel Snyder has all the power in the world right now, and the world by the balls. I hate your guts, Daniel Snyder. I think you're a piece of garbage, and I think you just need to get to court, have your day in court, get out of here. Pull a Raiders, try to clean up that image just a little bit more.
We did not mention that, which is actually kind of egregious on our part. The Raiders are the first team to hire a black woman exec as a team president.
Shout out to the Raiders for, come on. If this is the move to make,
you think it's
every
pandering?
Fucking league, every team should be doing this.
I mean, like, I don't know anything
Not
about
the
the
situation.
But you should have to earn it, though.
Of course. But
I'm
telling you right now, team president, there's many women out there that are probably more qualified than half the dudes that are doing it. Trust me on that one.
I know nothing about the situation, so I will reserve any of my comments. I think it's at least good on the Raiders, whatever it is.
Good on the Raiders, just weird timing. Anyway,
I mean, they needed a team president.
They needed a team president, I guess.
I feel like the timing lines up with society perfectly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're it's like this. Do it now. Do it. Okay, I'm sorry. You should have did that years ago.
There might be some pandering going on, but at the end of the day, there's a lot at stake for pandering. They want to win. They invested a lot.
MLB just announced they're doing legends now. The commissioner can add a legend on each All-Star team now instead of
they
wasting a spot. I guess
Pujols and Miggy.
Pujols and Cabrera.
Perfect.
Shout out to anybody that was in my
no disagreements
my old school Ansky baseball fantasy baseball keeper league from back in the day. I had Miguel Cabrera and Pujols for like 13 years each.
Dominant. Anyway,
dominant is not the word.
Yeah,
I had A-Rod on that team too.
Anyway, that's a show. That's a week.
And Roy Halladay, Verlander.
Roy Halladay was so good.
Is he the one who crashed his car into a building?
I had young Johan as an RP.
There's actually something on Facebook right now I was going to send to. It's like, who would you choose for like a Game 7 World Series? It was Verlander, Madison Bumgarner, Pedro, Randy Johnson, Roy Halladay.
Bumgarner.
I said Bumgarner too. I'm like, bro, if you don't know the stats about
in the playoffs.
You don't know Bumgarner stats in like Game 7s. It's like, bro, jump on that.
He's solely responsible for a Giants dynasty. I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, that and Bonds was.
Bonds won 0.
Bonds was never on any of those teams.
They lost.
Holy
they
shit,
lost
you're right.
to the Angels, I believe.
Yeah.
You want to know another stat that I heard about yesterday? Right? Ready for this? How many Cy Youngs has Nolan Ryan won?
40.
0.
Really?
He told me yesterday. I was like,
"Are you serious?"
My jaw to the ground. I was like,
I want to know who won them the year he played.
Right, that's what I want to know.
I mean, all 39 years he played. It's been a lot.
But 0, bro.
Wow.
That's insanity.
But looking deep into Nolan Ryan's stats, he was never the best pitcher in any season he played in.
But he threw
but he's being touted as maybe the best to ever do it.
Over 39 years. Really good. He has Nolan Ryan
39 years for real.
Nolan Ryan was a little bit of a compiler later in his career, for a fact.
Come
on, stop. The fuck are we talking about here?
I know, but like,
he was
Nolan Ryan.
He was, bro, if Nolan Ryan was pitching today, they would probably be like, bro, like his command was brutal. He did it on purpose, and I'm not talking shit. Like, but Nolan Ryan walked a lot of batters. A lot.
All right.
He pitched 27 years.
All right, but look at his walks.
27 years?
Yeah.
Look at his
That's
walks.
a fact?
Look at his walks.
Holy shit.
So he amazed 324 wins to go with an all-time record for no-hitter 7,
How many losses?
5,714 strikeouts. Hold on, I'm looking for you, buddy.
It's not
I'm
right
down
in
over
order.
there.
Where are you looking? How is it
I
not
just Googled
wins,
it.
losses?
I don't know. I just Googled
Baseball
it,
reference?
and it was the first thing that came up. How
So
many-
did he walk a lot of guys?
Hold on, dog. I gotta Google it.
I mean, it
My
should
phone-
be right
I don't
there.
want to use the computer because I don't want to mess up your already things here.
Yeah, already thing already
How
messed itself up
many
today.
Walks does
Everybody's Googling
Nolan-
at the same time. You guys enjoyed today's show. You got it yet? No? Anybody? No.
5,714 strikeouts, 2,795 walks.
So his strikeout to walk ratio is like 5-2.
It's a lot of walks, though.
It's like closer to 2-1.
No. 5-2 is a 3 gap. 2-1 is a 1 gap. That's math. So I'll give it to a 4-2.
It's
Maybe
like
50. Like
4-2 is
yeah,
2-1.
No, it's
So-
5-2.
Now that's math.
And that's math, and that's a show for
Look.
Sturch and Gooch. And of course, Wrestling Rob for producing. This has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. Gooch got something on deck.
Yes. Show me this season Nolan Ryan deserved a Cy Young.
Well, honestly, I have 16. I don't want to continuously read this here, but there's a lot of crazies. He holds the all-time record, minimum 1,000 innings for lowest hits per 9-inning mark. The righty allowed
Before all these Fugazi stats came
3,923.
around, he was doing it already.
This righty allowed 4,000 hits and 5,000.
Look,
3-1. That's
I'm
what I
not
was looking
saying
for,
that
Bailey.
Nolan Ryan doesn't have his place in history.
He's
I'm
the
saying
only
he
pitcher
never
in the AL
deserved to
or
win a Cy
NL
Young.
with at least 5,000 strikeouts. He's also the only pitcher with at least 2,000 walks. All told, more than 38% of the plate appearance against him ended up with the ball being put into play.
So he was
Not
hit a
bad.
lot.
That's pretty good, dude. No,
No, he was
38%.
hit seldom, but he walked a lot.
So
And the ratio is 3-1.
I'm not saying, like I said, Nolan Ryan has his place in history. He's a Hall of Famer.
He led his league in strikeouts 11 times.
Yeah, but his best season,
Half of his career.
he led the league in strikeouts 11 times. Look at the pitchers in the league that year. Show me.
No, obviously, I guess there had to be better pitchers not in the same
What's
year
his
as him, but
career
that's crazy.
era?
He was 70s.
ERA?
70s, 80s. 70s,
No,
80s.
I'm talking about ERA. I know what era he played in.
Ryan posted
70s, 80s, easily. 90s, maybe.
Ryan
Little bit.
posted 383 strikeouts in 1973, which stands as the modern era record.
What's
very
his
next
win?
year-
Nolan.
What's his
Getting
win-loss
Ryan.
total in 73?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Who gives?
No, but it makes sense. If somebody pitched better than that year, he's not going to win. What was
The 1 year he finished second, Jim Palmer was 114 whip and was 22-9. So he finished second on that
And
year.
and Nolan Ryan was probably like 8-10.
Still fucking whip. It's like
he
whip.
finished
Who the fuck
second to
cares
Cy
about
Young
whip?
ballot and losing Jim Pollard 88-62 in 1973. It was the closest he ever came to the Cy Young ballot. Ryan also led the league in losses in 1976. He was 17-18 in 1976, which is bad. So his career is 324 and 292. So you're right. The guy lost a lot.
Are you sitting here, bold faces? I'm trying to wrap up the show. You're sitting here basically saying Nolan Ryan stunk.
No.
No,
I'm
he
saying
lost
Nolan
a lot,
Ryan
though.
didn't deserve any Cy Young awards.
Okay.
That's it. So you could tell me all about his career achievements and this and that. And like Nolan Ryan is a Hall of Fame pitcher, one of the all-time greats, but he was never the best pitcher
There's a guy right
in the
now
season
that,
in any season he played in.
that I don't know if you're watching, but Ed Downey, my best friend John, who passed away years ago. Ed Downey was the biggest Nolan Ryan fan of all time. If he saw this, he would lose his goddamn mind all over you. All over this entire subject.
He never played for a good team, they said. He
Who's he fucking
he
Texas
won
Rangers?
20 he won 20 games 5 times. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He should have won.
Wait, he's in the Hall of Fame.
But
But
he's very in the Hall
But
of
he should
Fame.
have won a Cy Young.
like,
bro.
so you're telling me
So
that
wait, how many times did he win? 20 games?
5 times.
5. So in those 5 years, we won 20 games. Show me the guys that won more.
is it about just winning
It
more?
should be.
Like, yeah,
Enough
let's
of the
look at the other
whip.
look at the
Nobody
other guys.
cares.
I think that was the closest he came was the Jim Palmer one. To me, that season he clearly didn't deserve it. So if that was his best season, right?
Listen to this. Ryan is the all-time leader in no-hitters with 7, 3 more than any other pitcher. He is tied with Bob Feller for
Did he have him in
Hold
1
on.
year?
He is tied with Bob
Not
Feller
with the Mets.
for the most
He didn't do it with the
one-hitters with 12. He also pitched 18
Which
two-hitters.
season did he have 12 one-hitters? Because if we're not talking about season, then he didn't deserve a Cy Young throughout his 27-year career.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to put what was no roll up.
Man, oh man.
What?
Casey Hammond coming in with a bigger question. Could 60-year-old Mike Tyson knock out Nolan Ryan?
Maybe. All right, so
Wait,
they're saying
which version of Nolan Ryan?
season,
Here we go.
his best season from 1972
we're still
from
going
1972 to 1977, Ryan averaged 19 wins and 322 strikeouts per
Average
year,
19-win average,
which only
bro.
saw him pitch only
Probably
198
averaged,
innings.
he probably averaged 22 losses too, though.
Ryan won
Played for some
16
shit
games for helping
teams.
the Angels win the American League West title for the first time in franchise history.
First
I
time
guess
ever.
I want to look.
I
at
don't
the
know
other
why you
pictures.
guys are like both looking at me like I'm like the anti-Nolan Ryan
It
police over
seems
here.
very,
That's a
very
shocking
apparent that
stat.
you're.
I was the one that I saw it in Chop Sports. I think it was Mike Vogt that posted it. I read it and I was like, wow, interesting.
And he told
But
me, and I
then
was like,
you
"He
read it
ready
to the
for this?"
comments
He
a
goes,
little bit.
"How many did he win?" To me, he goes, "He played X amount of years." I said, 5.
No, you said 8. And I said, well, 6 is the most. And then it was
Yeah.
5.
And then it was 0.
0.
That's crazy.
That's fucking
You know what's
nuts
good
to
about
me.
that though is like that's how you could see how like how whiny society got now. Like if this was a guy now, it wouldn't matter if he went 3 and 19. They'd be like, well, he deserves a Cy Young before he retires.
Yeah. Well, that's
For
what I'm
real,
saying.
though.
But that's
Which
what I was trying to say
is
to you. It's
kinda-
like, show me the season he deserved it. Should they have given him like the like
you
how-
know, nowadays it would happen.
You know what?
Oh,
Fuck
man.
it. Fuck it.
That's really good.
Doesn't
I like
Pujols? How many MVPs does Pujols need to tie bonds? Can't the commissioner just give him one?
Just hand it to him.
Yeah.
Right?
They
Here,
just put him in
here,
All-Star
You
he
can't
game.
just give him one. You
They
just
put
put
him
him in the
in
All-Star
bat
game.
Like 190,
He's,
but
you know
like,
what? He's starting first base in the All-Star game for
what
half a
season
minute.
does Nolan Ryan deserve a Cy Young?
73.
Give it to him. Give him the
Just
fucking
mail it
Cy
to
Young
him.
from 73. Who
Put a
cares?
cigarette on it and send
Who
it to his
cares?
house.
No different than Jacob
You,
Brom's 8
you
and 10
know for
Cy
sure
Young.
if it was today's world, these kids would be crying on the internet. He deserves it.
God.
Give him a medal. Matter of fact, tell me his Venmo.
All right, so in
make one for him. and we'll send it to
1974,
him. You know
he
it,
walked.
Dave, that's what would happen.
In 1974, he walked 202 batters. That's more than the number 1, 2, and 4. Listen,
74. I'm reading it.
Listen, 1974, he walked 202 batters. That's more than number 1, number 2, and number 4 Cy Young voters combined.
We don't
right,
know about
so-
combined. It's just his
No, that's
Riley's all over this right
That's
now.
combined.
He is a Jim Palmer stan, by the way. It seems to me.
if that's combined. That's sickening.
Oh my God!
He's
All right,
ashamed
long ass
himself.
show. Thanks for watching, everybody. Now that I have my moment for the for this Friday, we got Curtis Counts coming in here later. I almost just
He
said
does
Curtis
sell
sells houses.
houses.
He does sell houses. He sold Joe. Congratulations, right? That's a thing. That's a
well,
real thing?
no.
No, all right.
We'll let
We're-
Joe drop that news.
Oh.
I don't- Joe's
on
looking-
what
Joe,
forum?
Joe is I just
He can come on my wrestling show
it's
Monday.
like
There
there's
you go.
paperwork, there's logistics. You
You're
don't
right.
want to
You're
make
right.
the
You never want to say
announcement
anything until the
and
baby's
things like
born.
this. It's exactly.
You
So
don't want to name the dog until you take him home.
Joe's pregnant, but he's not giving birth to his home just yet.
Anyway, it's been a show. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend. Be safe, everybody. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Yes, we will.
Holy.